Hello everyone, welcome back to EduTap and welcome to the success story session. Today with us we have Mr. Sattwik, who has cleared the NABARD Grade A in this session only, and the Sattwik has a great story to tell, and is the one that has cleared the NABARD Grade A from the general stream. So all the students that were waiting for the general stream candidate. So here we have Mr. Sattwik, who is going to tell his strategy for clearing the NABARD Grade A. So first of all, heartiest congratulations to you, sir, for clearing the NABARD Grade A.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
And how is the feeling? Like how much elated you are and how much happy your family is?
Ma'am, it's a very good feeling because after a lot of years of struggle, after attempting many exams, I have seen success like after a long time, and it's a big success. So I'm very happy after this results.
And can you tell about the educational background?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, I have been born and brought up here in Bhubaneswar. I've had my schooling as well as college here, and I graduated in mechanical engineering from College of Engineering and Technology in Bhubaneswar.
Okay. And how many, which government exams were you preparing for after your graduation?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, after graduation, I was mainly focused on the UPSC examination, the civil services examination, and after a few attempts, I came across NABARD, and I appeared NABARD as well. This was my second attempt at NABARD examination.
Okay. And in the first attempt, you were able to reach to which stage?
Yes, ma'am. In the first attempt in the NABARD exam, I wrote the mains stage, but I missed the interview stage by 2 marks, so I could not appear the interview.
And in UPSC also, you have given like 4 attempts, and in that, you
Yes,
were able
ma'am.
to?
Yes, ma'am. In the UPSC exam, I have written 4 mains, and I have given 1 interview as well.
Okay. So now what was the motivation? Like from UPSC, you came to NABARD, not RBI or not SEBI. So what was the motivation behind NABARD only?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, first of all, I went and checked the work profile that is there at NABARD. The departments, such as there are a lot of departments which work towards ground level development, such as developmental functions of regarding SHGs or FPOs, or in the agriculture sector, rural development. So that was very interesting for me. And ma'am, secondly, the exam pattern of NABARD also, I found a level of comfort because many portions were there which I had prepared for UPSC. I thought I should give it a try. That's why.
Okay. So now coming to the motivation, you have told that NABARD was quite, you were comfortable with the syllabus also, and you were also wanted to work at the grassroots level that NABARD works. So now coming to the motivation, now you have said that you have given the 4 UPSC attempts and then you gave this second NABARD attempt. So how sacrificing sometimes it is, and how distressing it is to keep this journey on, and how you were able to continue this journey, how you were able to achieve the success that you have achieved?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, generally these exams, they have multiple stages. So when one stage is cleared, we feel that yes, we are one step closer to being finally selected. But then again, after some stage, we face failure. And so I had, after a few attempts, I had made it a mindset that as long as I'm not selected, I would like to remain as calm as possible, whether it's success in a stage or failure. And I realized after my talking to my parents, my friends, my seniors, they also told that this journey requires a lot of patience and fortitude. So you should always continue working towards it, and finally you will get success. And it turns out to be true.
Okay, so we have one student that is asking, please tell me whether you are average student or topper. So most of the people have this perception na कि topper ही clear कर सकते हैं. So is it so?
Ma'am, I would say academically I was strong because I have scored more than 95% in the 10th. In the 12th, I was a good scorer. But ma'am, I would also like to add that in this examination, there was nothing similar to what I had studied in academics. It was completely new to me, whatever I had studied. So I believe there is nothing that differentiates a topper or an average student in this. It's a very level playing field.
That is
So,
true.
yes,
So here means the UPSC or the NABARD itself. So it is nothing connected with the IT stream or the engineering stream that you have done. So it's like all have the same playground, and there is the GA that is always changing. There is the ESI that is always changing, schemes you have to do. So for all the students, they have the level playing field. So
Right.
they just have to come out and they just have to be consistent, dedicated, and they can clear the exam. So
Right.
now coming to the consistency. So how consistent you were, and now I'm getting this question from Jeevan, that how to stay consistent.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, first of all, I tried to create a schedule, like a daily schedule, a weekly schedule. And after creating the schedule, I used to fix some targets, like by this weekend, I will finish this much. So that gave me a sense of urgency that I need to study every day, otherwise I won't be able to get to that target. That was one thing. And ma'am, apart from that, I fixed a minimum studying hours, like at least 5 hours or 6 hours I will put today. So I used to calculate the time that I was used to put in through, there are mobile apps through which I used to put it. And after looking back, the time I have given, it used to give me a sense of satisfaction as well as motivation to stay consistent after that as well. So candidates can try that.
So that is a really good strategy, that set the mini goals or set the timer kind of thing in your mobiles or in your head, that you have to at least achieve this much in today's time, so that you have that level of satisfaction कि हाँ मतलब टाइम वेस्ट हुआ, थोड़ा सा टाइम
Yes,
पास हुआ, पर पढ़ाई भी चल रही है. So
right,
that should be there. That is true. So now you have given like 6 years to this government examination, or you have given more than 5 years to this preparation. So how tiring it is, as well as after achieving the success, how like satisfying it is. So what weighs more?
Ma'am, it was tiring very much, because after appearing exam after exam, I will be waiting for another notification. I'll be applying for another. It just felt like all I'm doing is studying, but I'm seeing no success. But after getting finally success, I feel that it was all worth it. Whatever struggle I had to go through, it was worth it. And even during the preparation, I used to take some free time. I used to meet my friends, sometimes go out on family outings. So I took sufficient breaks during those times as well.
Okay. And anything that made you stay consistent and motivated, because like such a long journey is quite tiring for most of the students. There are many students that are going through this journey right now also. So what is the method we can say, or what is the like how we can stay motivated and consistent?
Yes, ma'am. I feel one thing very important for a candidate to stay motivated would be the self-belief. Like we should always believe that we have it in ourselves, because sometimes that doubt creeps in after some failures, that we feel maybe we made a wrong decision by going into this line. But we should always believe in ourselves that what if we work hard enough, then we will definitely see success. And keeping that in mind, I believe that it keeps you motivated. And apart from that, I used to also watch other toppers videos, where people from similar background, especially who had some gap years and who faced such failures. And I felt that if they can do it, then I can also do it. So that is something that kept me motivated.
That is really nice. Now the students are getting very in that situation ki strategy batao ab. So now let's move to the strategy part, and talking about the phase one first. So coming to the qualifying section, let's talk about the qualifying only first. So in the phase one qualifying, the QRE decision making and the computer knowledge is there. So how you were able to handle those 5 subjects?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, first of all, in NABARD, these qualifying subjects, the cutoff generally is very low from what I've seen in previous years. And also the level of questions are not that difficult. So I did not prepare much. What I did was I used to go through some YouTube videos regarding the type of questions that are asked here in these subjects. And I felt that I was able to answer most of them. So that's why I believe, ma'am, that anyone with a basic understanding of these topics, they can clear it easily. So I did not
Okay.
specifically do anything.
So for the QRE, we can say that you can gauge the level that where you stand, and
Yes.
then you can give the mocks, or you can give try the MCQs and everything, and you can gauge the level. But now coming to the decision making, that is quite a new subject for all of this aspirants. So how to tackle that decision making? That is the pain point, I can say, for most of the students.
Yes, sir. Ma'am, for decision making, first of all, I went through the YouTube videos regarding some topics of decision making. And apart from that, ma'am, one thing I think is very important, that in decision making, the common sense helps a lot. So I believe that a lot of questions in decision making, if we use some common sense, see the options properly and read the question properly, then we can clear the cutoff easily regarding decision making.
Okay. Now let's shift to the merit section. That is the question that is coming most. So starting with the ARD only, because now I'm getting the students that the question coming is, sir, how did you study ARD, though you were not from the agricultural background? So you were from the non-agri background. How were you able to tackle the ARD for the phase one? Let's start from there.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, first of all, for ARD section, I went through some videos in YouTube regarding which sections are very important. For example, I saw that a lot of questions tend to come from the fisheries section. So those topics I had taken from a coaching institute material. So I prepared those topics in priority based on the questions where most questions are asked, the topics from where most questions are asked. And apart from that, I used to solve a lot of mock test papers. So that also helped me a lot. And I think, ma'am, since I was new to agriculture, I did not have any prior knowledge. So I tried to revise them as much as possible. I used to read those topics again and again. The various schemes are very important regarding rural development. So those schemes should be studied very well. And I think by repeated revision, one can solve these questions.
Okay. So now coming to the ESI and GA. So they are the parts that have the current affairs, that the facts and figures are there. So how were you able to do the GA and ESI? What was your, like you were making your own notes or you highlighting the documents? What was the strategy for that?
Yes, sir. Ma'am, first of all, I would like to add that I was reading the newspaper almost daily. So if there was something in the economy section or regarding agriculture, which I used to feel that it's important, I used to make a note in Evernote I used. So on the computer, I used to make a note. And apart from that, I read the budget summary and the economic survey, the summary that is released. And I read them very well so that I remembered exact facts and figures, and especially agriculture and these sectors. And apart from that, I used to follow the monthly magazine of an institute also, focusing on ESI and ARD. So these were my sources basically.
Okay. And how many months of the general awareness for the GA section and how many months of the current affairs for the ESI section is important for the phase one, let's say?
Yes, ma'am. From the exam, the previous 6 months I had done.
Okay, so the 6 months is the most important time
Yes,
frame
sir.
that we can say. Now, how many times of the revision is necessary, or how the revision? What is the key for the revision we can say, and what is the best strategy for the revision we can say?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, I would say that the many times I used to read. So in the first phase, I used to read very slowly, and I used to mark the important things that I felt could be asked in the exam. So that was the first reading. And second revision, I would try to do it a bit quicker. So if the first revision took me around for a topic, let's say 3 hours, then the second revision, I would try to do it within 2 hours or maybe 1.5 hours. So as I revised more and more, I realized that I could complete the same thing at a faster pace. So eventually in the exam before 2-3 days, I was able to complete the entire syllabus, going through the entire syllabus, especially the marked portions. So I
Okay,
think candidates can do that.
and you were making your handwritten notes?
Ma'am, I was not making any handwritten notes, but I used to use a marker to mark the important topics that I felt. And apart from that, the current affairs from the newspaper, I used to make notes because those won't be available all the time. So for newspaper only, I used to make some notes.
Okay. Now I think we have understood about the GA section. We have understood about the ESI and the ESI and ARD. We will further talk in the phase two. So we have completed the phase one. Now moving to the phase two, starting with the English descriptive. So what was your strategy for the English descriptive? Did you do any practice for that?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, actually, for English descriptive, I had joined a group of around 12 to 14 people. And in the group, what we used to do is we used to post questions. Suppose one day there will be a question on letter writing, another day there will be a précis writing, or another day there's an essay writing. So personally, I would go and I would open WordPad on my computer, and taking that prescribed time limit, such as 20 minutes or something, I used to write the entire, be it the letter or the essay. And then I used to post it in the group for others to read and give their review, as well as I used to use Grammarly to check grammar mistakes and the overall composition of my writing. So this used to follow.
Okay, and what do you think should be the sequence of attempting the question in the English section, especially?
Ma'am, I used to follow serially because I think first it was the essay. So I used to write the essay first, then the letter, and at last the précis.
Okay. So now I think we can talk about the ESI and ARD, the objective and the descriptive. So let's start with the ESI first, and how you were able to do the ESI section, both for the descriptive and the objective.
Yes, ma'am, for the objective section for ESI, my strategy was pretty much the same as the phase one. So I used to do the same sources, and I used to try mock tests for objective section. And for subjective, ma'am, I used to practice some previous year questions, the NABARD, the last year questions I used to attempt using the computer. On WordPad, trying to simulate real-time conditions. And also, ma'am, I think even non-UPSC candidates can benefit from this. They can pick the general studies paper 3 and paper 2 questions specific to the syllabus of NABARD. And those questions, I think they are very nice questions. Candidates can attempt those within the prescribed word and time limit to practice. I used to do that as well.
Okay. Now for the ESI, you were following one particular source, or you were doing your preparation from 3 to 4 sources?
Ma'am, mostly it was from one source, the material of a coaching institute I was doing. Apart from that, I used to do some value addition from the newspaper, the economic survey, the budget document. I used to add, I used to try to add the examples from those sources as well, so that my answers would feel more relevant to the
Okay.
question.
So as well as you have told that there are very good questions in the GS paper 3 and 2. So the students can attempt from there also. So
Yes,
now coming to the ARD section, now how difficult it is for the non-agriculture background to attempt the descriptive paper, like for the objective, you are preparing for the phase one also, in the phase one also. So now coming to the phase two. So how hard it is, or how you were able to do it?
yes, ma'am. Ma'am, for the ARD questions, this time the questions were, I feel they were more inclined towards particular schemes. For example,
Hmm.
the Matsya Sampada Yojana was asked, the NRLM was asked. So first of all, I think regarding ARD, the candidates, they should be very thorough with the schemes pertaining to ARD section.
Hmm.
So those schemes, that various objectives of the schemes, the targets under the schemes, we should by heart those schemes. So I remember reading the Matsya Sampada Yojana just before the examination day. So thankfully that clicked. And apart from that, I believe that even non-agricultural background students, it won't be a problem for them if they go through the, just during the preparation of objective phase, they are already studying a lot of theory. And similarly, just like ESI, they can use the GS3 agriculture topic questions to practice their answers. They can type the answers on their computer and practice. And I think apart from that, the schemes, they should do really well. And I think they can score good marks in this section.
So now which schemes are important? Like we say that what are in news, but I know that the aspirants will want to hear it from you only, that which schemes you prepared and which schemes do you think are important for the examination?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, as I said, during phase one preparation, there are some agriculture topics from where more questions tend to appear. So, ma'am, I had identified fisheries was one such scheme, one such sector. So, for that reason, I actually prepared the Matsya Sampada Yojana very well, all the objectives and others. So, I think these schemes which we come across newspapers, or some more allocation is being done, such as, for example, Manrega scheme, it's always in the news. NRLM is there in the news. Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Gramin is in the news. So such schemes which are in the news and which are making an actual impact on the ground, we should be very well thorough with those schemes, especially.
So we can say the schemes that are usually in the news,
Yes.
that should be the main focus, and mainly the locations that is happening, or some change that is happening, or some new launch that is happening. Now,
Yes.
any important points that you think from the ESI, like the questions come from, we know that mostly schemes, but any other thing that you think that is important for in the ESI section that must be studied?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, from the ESI, I think that various targets or allocations that are given in the budget or economic survey, those points can be intelligently used in the answers. Even if it is not asked directly, we can say we can use those information, especially in the descriptive answers, to add value and make our answers different from other answers. So that is something can be done. Apart from that, ma'am, the newspaper reading also becomes beneficial there. We are aware of even what's happening yesterday. We can, if today is our exam, we can go and write the latest information which others won't be having the access to. So this can be done.
That is true. Now, coming to the typing part, like you are from the UPSC background, so you have the habit of writing the answer, but in the paper pen. So,
Yes.
how difficult it was to switch to the keyboard, and especially the interface that is provided?
Yes, ma'am. It was a bit difficult in the beginning. So I actually had realized that it would be a difficulty. So as soon as my prelims got over, there was around a 1 month gap. So while attempting this, practicing these English descriptive answers, that was quite helpful in improving my typing speed, especially. And also various the online mocks, they also provide descriptive answer writing. So that somewhat helps us become acquainted with the typing interface. Though I feel that in the actual examination, it's a very different experience because there's this pressure and we tend to make mistakes. So I think candidates should be aware of how the interface is very well before attempting the exam.
Okay. Now, there is one question that is coming, that the descriptive writing practice should be started from the phase one, like before the phase one only, or we should start the descriptive writing practice after the phase one, like before the phase two?
Ma'am, personally, I believe that candidates should start it before the phase one, because that is ultimately which is getting to will be getting us marks to qualify the exam and get a final selection. So while we are preparing for the objective section in the phase one, we should also continue with the descriptive so that we are ready when the results of phase one come.
That is true. That if you have enough time, you should do the descriptive writing practice also, so that you have better chances in clearing the exam rather than
Yes,
just clearing some particular phase.
yes,
So
ma'am.
now coming, we can come to the interview part. And how was the panel? How was your experience? First of all, that.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, my panel had 3 members and they were very cordial. So as I entered the room, there was a funny incident actually, ma'am. I would like to share that as I entered the room, the panel member thought that the interviews for the before the lunch session were done. So they were just getting up. But then they realized that I'm already inside. So they sat down and asked that, yes, we'll continue the interview. And they were very cordial. So there was no nervousness from my side because there were such cordial people and it was a very good experience.
Okay, so now I'm getting one question in the chat. So how confident you were giving while giving the interview, as well as was there any question regarding the career gap?
Yes, sir. Ma'am, there was no direct question regarding the career gap. There was an indirect question. I'll tell the what exactly it was. Ma'am, first, the panel members asked me like, what motivated you to come to NABARD? So when I answered the question, they asked, then why did you wait so many years to come to NABARD? So, ma'am, I was not, I was very confident and I answered honestly that I was preparing for the UPSC examination. And when I came across NABARD in 2021, I appeared the first attempt. That was my first attempt. So, ma'am, I think we need not be apologetic about it. It is not a weakness. We should not consider it as a weakness. We have learned a lot during
Hmm.
these years of struggle. And so I think the panel members would respect our struggle. So I was
Yes, that
confident.
is true. That is true, because we shouldn't be apologetic. We
Yes.
have done like such hard work for 4 or 5 years, and we should be proud of, like, we should be. proud of that thing, that we have gained the
Right.
knowledge that we were able to gain. So rather than being apologetic, or rather than being sad about the years we have lost, we should think that okay, this much we have gained actually, because that is at last what is pushing us forward. So now there is another question. Now, were there more HR questions or technical questions that were asked from you?
Ma'am, the interview was, I believe, structured in a way. In the beginning, there were 3 or 4 HR questions. And after that, it was mostly technical in nature. Mostly, I was asked about NABARD's functions, various agents, FPOs, SHGs, NABARD schemes, and such nature of questions.
So directly, was there any question from the website of the NABARD, if you remember?
Ma'am, there were a lot of questions from the annual report of the NABARD. So,
Okay.
and there was a question regarding what are the functions of NABARD. So there, the
Hmm.
website has given it very beautifully, and I
Yeah.
was able to say that.
And any technical question coming from your background or something like that?
Ma'am, there was no question from my educational background. It was mostly around NABARD and its functions.
Okay. And you had no work experience?
No, ma'am, I had no work experience.
Was there any question that you said no to, or you were not able to answer clearly?
Ma'am, actually, I was prepared very well for the interview. I think so. I could answer all the questions very comprehensively, I believe. So my interview had gone really well.
Okay. And at the time, like if some aspirant is not able to give the right answer, they have to say no. So what do you think that what should be the process, or how you should be saying no to any of the question?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, first of all, regarding HR related questions, I think people should not be saying a blunt no, because that gives a bad impression, like we don't even know ourselves well enough to answer the question. But in technical questions, I believe that politely one can say that, sorry, sir, I'm not aware of it, or sorry, sir, I will read more about it. That would suffice. So that is enough, ma'am.
Okay. So now I think we are towards the end of the session, and any message for the aspirants out there that are going through this journey of the government examinations. And there are many aspirants that have been doing this for a few years. So what should be the motivation of theirs, and any message for those aspirants?
Yes, ma'am. My motivation to aspirants who are preparing for many years would be is that you have already given a lot of effort. So you never know just how close you are to your victory. So keep up that energy and keep working towards it. And I believe you are closer to success than you realize. So at times we often get disheartened, but we should get over those moments and keep working, and we will definitely achieve success.
That is a really nice message that you have given to the aspirants. One last question was, did you give any of the mock interviews?
Yes, ma'am. I appeared around 3 or 4 more interviews, including EduTaps. And the mock interviews were very helpful, especially for preparing the kind of questions and how to interact with the panel members. So I would recommend candidates to do appear mock interviews before the actual interview.
Yes, because most of the aspirants are afraid that what if like we do not have the good feedback here and we get demotivated for the final interview. So I thought that it will be nice from you only that actually the interview tells you that what kind of questions can be framed, or how you have to answer to the panel members. So it gives you a real example type of thing. So you should actually be giving the mock interview so that you have that scenario in mind, and that kind of environment. So thank you
Yeah.
very much, Satvik, for coming and giving such a nice interview.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.